What's up, Reddit? I'm back doing anime content. Your boy. Um, so basically, the story goes that I was logging on to Crunchyroll, like I do every day, to get my daily fix, my anime drug. Uh, and they were like, "Hey, we're doing you win a trip to Japan," and I'm like, "Whoa, Japan! I love Japan, man! Yeah." It took me to this website, and it's like, you just got to watch the first episode, all these shows that come out this season, and you're entered in for a chance to win a trip to Japan. I'm just like, oh my god. Well, I do love Japan, and basically, it was just an excuse to watch stuff because I have a hard time motivating myself to watch most shows if I haven't heard anything about them. Yeah, so I did it, and I'm gonna tell you about the shows I watched, and also I think I watched maybe a few other shows. This is gonna be kind of just like a general season thing, I guess. Um, I can't guarantee these shows are popular, because I really don't know what's popular this season. I should probably, I could check that, but anyway, yeah, here we go. So first, they had me watch Black Clover, which it was bad first show to watch. It's based off of, I think, a fairly popular shonen thing. Um, and it was basically a complete piece of shit. I mean, the animation was fine. Uh, I think it actually had a pretty good OP, but yeah, it seemed really generic. Um, it the only interesting thing about the world is that everybody uses magic, which I thought was kind of interesting. Um, but the biggest problem was, I mean, aside from it being generic and boilerplate and boring, the main character, his name's like Asta, I think. Basically, I think he might literally have autism. Not to be ableist or nothing, but I think he might literally be autistic because he spends good 3/4 of that first episode yelling and screaming, and really hurts your ears and gets really annoying after a little while. So yeah, and it also does, he's the one guy in the world who can't use magic, and then at the end of the episode they reveal, but actually he's a super mega magic demon secretly, and they're hinting at this bullshit in his past or whatever. So not a good show. Do not watch that. Then they made me watch Kino's Journey, the new one, which I was a little hesitant to do because I never watched the original Kino's Journey, and I didn't. I kind of assumed that there wasn't much of an episodic, or there wasn't much of a continued storyline, rather, just considering the nature of the show. Um, so I figured, yeah, I could probably watch it. I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll just be, Kino riding her motorcycle or whatever. And it was interesting. It was fine. The Kino's character design is a little wonky for me. Um, it was very slow. It was very methodical in its pacing. Um, it was a bit gorier than I expected. Because there's like a little violent scene at the end. Um, I appreciate the setup. I like that Kino just like she just has a fucking gun. It's just like, yeah, okay. Um, and she, they talk. Basically, the plot of this first episode is Kino goes to this country where murder is legal, and it just kind of is talking about the implications of that, what a society would look like if that were a thing. Kind of seems to me like a comment on gun control, um, which it's more political message than we usually get with anime, so that was kind of interesting. Um, but yeah, not incredible, I wouldn't say. But I mean, if you're a fan of Kino's Journey already, then I mean, you may as well check it out. It certainly wasn't bad or anything. Just not particularly my cup of tea, or maybe just this one episodic plot in particular um, wasn't super interesting to me. But yeah, such is life. Then I watched Urahara, which I had kind of glanced at in Crunchyroll's kind of seasonal chart thing that they have, and I'm like, I don't even what even is this? And then I finished watching the first episode, and I'm like, what even was that? um, so essentially, I think it's a magical girl show because the first episode's kind of like the setup for them getting their magical girl powers, I guess, where they have to fight these aliens called Scoopers, and it's this very lighthearted, almost kind of satirical, overly cutesy, like ridiculously pastel kind of show. The girls, they love parfaits and fashion designing and all that kind of stuff. It was actually pretty funny. There were a few jokes that got a chuckle out of me, which was kind of surprising considering how eclectic and just really bizarre the show seems for the first 10 minutes or so. Um, but yeah, not a bad episode. I kind of don't think I'll watch any more of it. Doesn't really seem quite like my thing, even if it was pretty funny. Uh, but I'm sure Digibro will like this show a lot. Seems right up his alley. And I would advise checking it out too to see if you would like it. It's very, almost too stylish. Um, yeah, I would say check it out. At least the first episode. Then, and this was, I think, probably the most pleasant surprise on the list. I watched Recovery of an MMO Junkie, which, looking at the title, looking at the description, looking at the promo art, seemed like a huge, generic, boring piece of shit. Kind of like, what was that show called? So You Think There's No Girls Online or whatever that show was called. I kind of figured it would be dumb bullshit like that, except with the girl as the main character. But no, the first episode I actually enjoyed quite a bit. It does kind of do what you would expect, I guess, in that it's, this neat lady. She's not a girl. She's like fucking 30 years old. Um, just playing an MMO. Obviously, the fucking MMO is the anime or whatever. She plays a guy, and then in the game she meets this girl in the game who's a guy IRL. Stuff like that. So it's kind of it's a generic setup, and if you look at the plot points, it's really uninteresting and boring. But I think the writing is really good. It does a good job of keeping me from, thinking of it as boring and shitty, and keeps it engaging and fun. Obviously, it's just the first episode, it's first impression. May or may not continue throughout the whole series. That remains to be seen. But, first episode I enjoyed quite a bit. This one I probably will keep watching. And also the main character, she actually was considerably more likable than I was expecting. I was expecting your average XD otaku neat girl. But no, she was kind of subversive, I guess. Even if she wasn't, this deep character, but only first episode. But yeah, it's good. Check it out. Kinda, maybe it might even be as good as Gamers. Who knows? Anime of the Year gamers. That's all I'm saying. Then I watched The Ancient Magus Bride, which I was kind of confused because, like, I had seen that, Ancient Magus Bride on, like, other seasons, I think. And my suspicions were kind of proved correct because there were, like, two seasons, I guess, of it. And I was like, which one do they want me to watch? Which one should I watch? But I just watched the first episode of the newer thing, I guess. And, Crunchyroll said that counted, so it's good enough for me. And upon further investigation, the other thing that came before kind of seems like a prequel, I think. Because from the screenshots, it looked like it was the main character of the newer one as a kid, so I'm fairly certain that's what it is. But I was able to follow the first new episode with, A-OK just fine without having watched the previous series. Basically, it's about this girl who has, like, some serious-ass trauma. She sells herself into slavery, which is, that's a pretty serious trauma. And she gets bought by this mage guy with a fucking dog bone for a head. Like a dog skull for a head. And then he wants to make her his wizard apprentice, and then also his wife. And really the first episode is kind of just mostly a little bit of setup. And then them two, the girl and the mage man, just kind of hanging out at his crib. And it was really just, it was a comfy, nice experience. The world they set up was really interesting. The characters were likable. I'm intrigued by the main character, her past, which, ostensibly, I guess I gotta go watch the other thing. Everything just seemed nice and good. I would definitely say to check this one out. It's not Iyashikei or anything, but it does kind of have just like this nice chill vibe. So yes, a good ass show. Oh, then they were like, "Hey, watch Food Wars." And I'm like, "Bitch, you think I already watched Food Wars? Come on." That's like the one show this season that I was watching already. And Food Wars, this new season. Well, Food Wars is the shit. If you didn't know, watch fucking Food Wars because it's fucking awesome. New season though, I'm a little skeptical because I really wanted to see the rivalry between Soma, Akira, and the fucking Bandana Man. Whatever his fucking name is. I wanted to see that expounded upon, but it seems like that he's instead going to be fighting the Elite 10 Student Council thing, which, these are characters we don't know, so they may or may not be interesting, but whatever, it's been fine so far, but we'll just have to see. But yeah, watch fucking Food Wars. Stupid. Then I watched Zodiac Wars, which kind of had a very bizarre opening. And it didn't really explain a ton in its first episode. But I think the setup is that it's a, I guess a Fate, Holy Grail Wars style death game with a bunch of professional mega assassins who all are represented by the animals of the zodiac, hence the Zodiac Wars. I think it has like another extra name, so if you're trying to look it up, you might, and it might lead you to something slightly different. I don't know. Look that up. Has like a little foreign language prefix, I think. But yeah, the first episode was mainly just focusing on the backstory of this one participant and her, like, you know, the events that brought her to the Zodiac Wall. Um, and then we get a little dinner scene of all the other competitors, and then kind of the beginnings of a fight. And it seemed, you know what? It's kind of a campy setup, and it is a pretty campy show. But it seems, it seems like good fun. Seems like a fun time if you're in the mood for something goofy and over the top, um, stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I may or may not go back to it and watch more episodes. I don't know, but if you're looking for something goofy and fun that kind of takes itself pseudo seriously, then yeah, I would say it takes itself seriously. It's kind of like a joke. Then yeah, definitely check that out. I would say. And then finally, for the Crunchyroll stuff, I watched Dai's Ire, which and it's one of those shows that has an episode 0, which that's always just kind of weird to me. But I watched it, and it gave me zero bearing on what the plot or the setup really for anything in the show is, because as far as I can tell, it's just the backstory of the main villain. Uh, he's a Nazi first of all, so it's a good start for a setup. And then he basically apparently becomes this god king who like owns a giant flying golden skeleton city. I'm not kidding. Look that up. Look that up. It's fucking real. And basically, they're the magic Nazis. They're doing occult stuff, and they're fighting like monsters and things. I don't really know. It seems like the rest of the series is there's a main character guy, and he's gonna fight the Nazi man, and the show was just kind of bewildering, I guess. I don't even know. So yeah, I mean, it seems like it'll be fucking over the top and goofy. I did enjoy my time with it just because of how over the top it was. But it was confusing, and I don't really understand what was happening a lot of the time. So make of that what you will. And then I think the only other thing that I watched was called I think it's called Evil or Live or something. And this was a fucking doozy. I think it's Chinese. I think. So essentially, the plot. I gotta bring you in for this one. The plot is that, oh my god, my camera's about to fucking run out. Okay, the plot is that these people are addicted to the internet. They get sent to internet addiction school, and basically it's like it's like prison school, but like not a joke, and also with less sex stuff. People just beat the shit out of these kids because they're addicted to the internet, and that's basically the whole thing. And it's ridiculously confusing most of that time. Watch the first episode. It's a fucking train wreck. It's hilarious. It makes zero sense. It's fucking shit. That's the video. Bye.